Hello and welcome to Carroll Hutchins Stadium. It feels good to be saying that now at Alumni Field. My name is Kelin Flynn, alongside me Alex Miller, and we are so pleased to be bringing you more Michigan softball coverage from WCBN Sports. We're just about to get underway here from Carroll Hutchins Stadium. Both of these squads getting their lineups introduced. It's a pink out today here at Alumni Field. Michigan donning their pink jerseys today instead of the traditional maize and blue or the whites. But we're ready to get going here. Alex, it's a nice day in Ann Arbor. A little bit of a wind blowing from left to right, but it's a nice day here at the park.
Yeah, I was worried we weren't going to get these in with the rain yesterday, but we got an exciting doubleheader coming up today. It should be fun.
Absolutely, a doubleheader on tap for today. Friday's game got rained out, unfortunately, but that means that you've got double the action today. We'll run through the lineups real quick for both teams. At the top of the order for the Hoosiers, it's Cora Bassett at third base, Taryn Kern, the star freshman, at second. The designated player is Taylor Minnick. In the 4 spot, it's first baseman Sarah Stone. The pitcher in the circle and batting in the 5 hole for Indiana is Bree Copeland. Avery Parker, the right fielder, is in the 6 spot. The left fielder, Cassidy Kettleman, in the 7 spot. And rounding out the bottom of the order, 8-9, is the center fielder, Kinsey Mitchell, and Brooke Benson, the shortstop. Behind the plate tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, for the Hoosiers is Lindsay Warwick. And again, Bree Copeland in the circle for the Hoosiers, the sophomore with a 3.19 ERA, 16-2 on the year in 35 appearances. Alex, let's break down the Hoosiers. Tell me what we should know about this Indiana squad.
I mean, this is an absolutely potent Indiana offense with a ton of power throughout. Kern in particular in the 2-hole with 19 homers, 57 RBIs already for the freshman. She has been tearing it up this year. And, I mean, she's got a lot of protection behind her. Minnick, who's designated player today, is hitting .407 behind Kern's .420. Just a lot of on-base percentage, a lot of power in the top of this Indiana order. And it's pretty deep as well. Everyone in this lineup can do damage. And Durkowski, for certain, for Michigan, a great pitcher. And she's going to have her work cut out for her today.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen Dirk on an absolute tear as of late. She's been downright dominant. Tossed 2 no-hitters against Purdue. Had an excellent showing last weekend when Michigan dominated Northwestern in a 5-inning run rule, which featured a 12-run third inning from the Wolverines. Wolverines had 18 at-bats in the inning. One of the most dominant innings we've seen all season from anyone in the country in collegiate softball. Durkowski, on the flip side, pitched a gem there for Michigan in those 5 innings. For the Wolverines defensively, Ellie Sealer in left, Lexi Blair in center, and Ellie Mataya in right, the usual for Michigan. And then we'll go around the diamond. Melina Livingston at first, Indiana Langford at second, Ella McVeigh at short, and Audrey LeClaire at third base. No changes there. Behind the dish, Kiki Thole, and in the circle, like we said, Lauren Durkowski. The designated player, Maddie Erickson, will be in the 7th spot for Michigan. This is a Wolverine team that's clicking at the right time, Alex. They're getting locked in before this Big Ten tournament approaches in mid-May in Champaign, Illinois. What should we know about this Michigan lineup?
I mean, for Michigan, it's a similar group that we've seen throughout this season. Sealer and Blair at the top, both hitting above 300. Blair's up to 364. She's been in rhythm lately, and they're continuing to get on base, base stealing threats. Blair in particular, 14 for 15. Michigan's just going to try to keep advancing runners, getting on base, stealing, playing good fundamental softball.
And we saw that against Northwestern last weekend when Michigan was having success. They did an excellent job of really just keeping the line moving, keeping runners on the base paths, taking bases when they can. And they're going to look to continue to do that today against a Hoosier team that's been rock solid as well. They're 34-15 on the season, 12-5 in Big Ten play. Currently in 2nd place in the Big Ten. The Wolverines 5th in the Big Ten, just behind Minnesota right now. Nebraska sits in the 3 spot. Obviously, Northwestern, number 1 in the conference, only with their second conference loss coming last weekend against Michigan. The Indiana Hoosiers are 13-4 on the road this season. Michigan is 7-3 at home, the friendly confines of Alumni Field and Carroll Hutchins Stadium. Should be an exciting day here as the Wolverines trot on to the field. Lauren Durkowski, 18 in pink today, steps into the circle to get loose. And Alex, this is a big game for the Wolverines. This whole series can really either propel them into the top 3 of the Big Ten standings or potentially drop them just a little bit further.
Absolutely. This is a really big series for the Wolverines. The Hoosiers they cooled down for a bit, got hot last weekend again, and it's a big series for Michigan. As you said, they can really change their place in the conference, and they did they got that one blowout win over the Wildcats last weekend, but they did drop 2 of 3 in that series. Sort of a missed opportunity if they could have just spread that offense out a little more instead of the 12 in 1 inning. But this is a big series. If they could come out with a series win against the Hoosiers, it'd go a long way in Big Ten standings later in the season.
Absolutely right. We're just moments away from getting going here. Cora Bassett is taking some practice hacks. Bassett, a .326 hitter on the season, started every game for Indiana this season. And you talked about the power in this lineup. The leadoff hitter has 4 home runs. That would rank second on Michigan, but that is nowhere near the top for the Hoosiers. That would be good for 6th in the Indiana lineup today.
Just different philosophies on the game.
Indiana, a lot of success at the plate this season. That's how they win games.
This whole Hoosier lineup, though, can really do some damage. Extra base hits, homers, can really get runs in bunches.
First pitch away, and that's in there for ball number 1 for Durkowski. And when it rains, it pours with this Indiana offense. When they get it rolling, it is dangerous for opponents. They pile on double-digit runs with ease. But when the bats are cold, they're cold as that one is driven to left. Sealer takes 1 step over and hauls it in for out number 1. A hard hit ball straight to Ellie Sealer for out number 1.
Looks out nicely for the Wolverines. Good contact there for Bassett. Just hit it right to where Sealer was and left.
And that brings up the most dominant freshman in the Big Ten this year, Taryn Kern. .420 hitter, 19 home runs for Indiana, 57 RBIs. Both of them lead the Hoosiers. That first pitch is in there high for ball 1 from Durkowski.
I mean, Kern's numbers this year are something out of a video game. I mean, a .983 slugging percentage and a nearly .600 on-base percentage. She's having an absolutely nuts freshman season.
And Kern's 19 home runs, good for best in the Big Ten by a margin of 5. That is absolutely ridiculous. Her 57 RBIs also top the Big Ten. Second and third are her teammates, Sarah Stone and Taylor Minnick. So no doubts about the potency of this Hoosier offense. Check swing there. Didn't go around. That's in there for ball 2. 2-1 count to Kern. Again, Kern only a freshman, so the rest of the Big Ten is going to have to deal with her for the next couple of seasons, which I'm sure they are none too pleased about, the freshman from San Jose, California. Next pitch on the way from Durkowski, low for ball 3. 3-1 hitters count to Kern. And Durkowski in a bit of a hole here against one of the best bats in the conference. Durkowski sets, spins the softball in her hand. Winds up, releases, and that is well hit. Gonna drop for a single as Sealer is able to cut it off. And there's a runner on base for the Hoosiers early in the top of the first. Well hit over Ella McVeigh, drops short of Sealer, and Indiana has a runner on.
Really nice piece of hitting by Kern. Kept her hands back and just hit it opposite field and to left, just enough to get it over McVeigh at short. It's a really good piece of hitting from the lefty. What you come to expect from her on how she's been this whole year.
And up next is Taylor Minnick for Indiana, as there's pitch number 1 in there for strike 1. Minnick, another potent bat, 407 hitter, third in the Big Ten in RBIs with 48, and packs a punch too with 9 home runs on the season. Second pitch is up high from Durkowski, ball 1. And if there is one flaw with Lauren Durkowski's game this season, it's been the tendency to give up the long ball at times. When Durkowski is on, she's nearly unhittable. As that pitch is in there for ball 2. 2-1 count to the designated player for Indiana. Liz Hammerschmidt, our home plate umpire, thought that one was just a bit outside. The delivery is popped up into the infield. McVeigh calls off Indiana Langford for out number 2. The off speed there from Durkowski threw off the timing of Taylor Minnick and resulted in just a shallow pop-up in the infield.
Good pitch by Durkowski. Gonna hope to continue to generate some weak contact against these powerful Indiana bats.
And early in this season, Indiana also made the trip down to Clearwater for the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational. Michigan down there as well. Nebraska also made the trip down there to represent the Big Ten.
Good stop by Thole on that last pitch behind the plate.
One-0 count to Sarah Stone, the first baseman in the 4 spot. The sophomore, a .285 hitter. 7 home runs, 53 RBIs. Right in the teeth of this Indiana lineup. And missed one game this season, but essentially an everyday starter for this Indiana squad. The delivery from Durkowski, that is fouled off hard, straight back. Count is 1-2, 2 outs in the top of the first inning. Here from Alumni Field at Carroll Hutchins Stadium. A pink out at the ballpark today.
Some sun's come out here, Kelin. Could be a nice day here in Ann Arbor.
Commencement as well here in Ann Arbor as that pitch is in for ball 2.
I was wondering what the seniors on this roster do with commencement today. You
think they're not going to play?
No, I mean, I guess they don't go to commencement. That was what I was figuring, but kind of sucks for them, I guess. But
that's true. As that is a well-hit ball. That's going to get out to the wall. Blair's going to send it in. Play at the plate is not close. And Indiana strikes first. Sarah Stone with a double to center. And that brings around Taryn Kern to score. Make that 54 RBIs on the year for Sarah Stone.
I mean, this Indiana offense is just so potent. This whole lineup, top to bottom, can really put some good swings on balls and just rip them to the outfield like Stone did there. Indiana jumps ahead.
And that brings up Bree Copeland. Goes both ways for the Indiana Hoosiers. And there's another ball that's well hit into center. Tough play for Blair to make, and it's going to scoot past her. That'll score 2 for Indiana and a double for Copeland. Blair, it just got right underneath her glove and allowed for Copeland to take an extra base there. So the Hoosiers stick 3 on early with 2 outs in the top of the first. And Indiana on top. Excuse me, make that too early. But Hoosiers, those potent bats are really working right now for Indiana. As Durkowski is in a 2-out jam here.
It looked like to me on Copeland's double that Stone had been running, and that helped certainly get her in on the double.
And the crazy thing with this Indiana lineup is they only have 2 juniors in the lineup. It's the catcher that doesn't hit and the 9-hole shortstop, Brooke Benson. The rest are all freshmen or sophomores except for the leadoff hitter, Cora Bassett. As there's another well-hit ball. That'll just be popped up to center by Avery Parker. And that's out number 3. Michigan gets out of the inning, but not before Indiana brings 2 around to score 2-0 through half an inning of play from Alumni Field. Michigan down 2-0. Sarah Stone and Bree Copeland doing some damage early for Indiana.
I mean, Michigan's not going to keep these Indiana bats quiet all day. Durkowski's a great pitcher, and I think she will bounce back in these coming innings and work through this lineup pretty smoothly. But Indiana bats absolutely can get it going in a hurry, and in a way, the only 2 runs minimized the damage a little bit, kept it running in scoring position on the bases, and Michigan bats will have to fight back here in the bottom of the first.
And thank you to all of our listeners tuning in from all across the great state of Michigan, all across the country, all over the world. Feel free to drop where you're listening from in the chat and let us know how far this Michigan softball family reaches. And I talked earlier about how this Indiana team made the trip down to Clearwater for the St. Pete Elite Invitational. They were 0-5 during the tournament. Michigan went 2-3 in that span. And the Hoosiers faced 2 of the common opponents that Michigan did. Michigan beat Louisiana 7-6 and also beat Mississippi State 5-4. I was down there with Charlie Brigham for both of those games. The Louisiana game had about an hour delay, and so unfortunately we weren't able to finish that. But Indiana lost to both of those teams earlier in the season, but has really found their stride since then. Copeland in the circle, Sealer in the box for Michigan as pitch number 1 is in there for ball 1. Ellie Sealer, 308 hitter. At the top of the order for Bonnie Thole. And that is going to be looped to the shortstop, Brooke Benson, for out number 1. Soft contact from Sealer gets an easy out for Copeland. That'll bring up Lexi Blair, the senior center fielder in the 2 spot. The strongest bat in this Michigan order. Strike 1 from Copeland. And Copeland, Alex, a 3.19 ERA, 16-2 on the season through about 118 innings of work. Gets some swings and misses. 111 strikeouts on the year to only 39 walks.
Copeland's been having a good season for this Hoosier team. And it also helps to have the run support this Hoosiers team can generate for her.
And that's going to be in there for a ball. 2-1 count to Lexi Blair from Bree Copeland. Copeland, only a sophomore again. The youth of this Indiana team is what's so fascinating to me. You'd think that this is a team that is going to have the chance to grow and really get better, as there's a bunt laid down by Blair. Diving throw from Copeland is not in time as Blair reaches safely on the bunt. Copeland tried to throw from the ground and couldn't get enough velocity on it there. to get to first base in time. It kind of skipped in across the dirt.
Yeah, tough play by Copeland. Almost made it. Just a tough pick at first for Sarah Stone, and she couldn't bring it up. It was sort of a bit of a roller throw from Copeland.
That'll bring up Ellie Mattia in the 3 spot today for Michigan. The senior right fielder, Boston College transfer. First pitch in there for ball 1 from Copeland. And Mattia, another steady presence in the outfield this season. Swings and misses there for strike 1. 1-1 count, 1 out in the bottom of the first. 2-0 ball game. Indiana pushed 2 across in the top of the inning. The delivery from Copeland swung on and missed by Mattia.
Blair at first, always a threat to run for the Wolverines.
That's absolutely right. 14 of 15 on the year. Stealing bases is Blair. No swing for Mattia. Ball 2, so it's a 2-2 count now on Mattia. Still hanging in there. Some great Big Ten action here from Alumni Field as Lexi Blair takes off. And the ball skids past the catcher, Lindsay Warwick. So Blair uncontestedly takes second for her 15th stolen base of the season.
Blair got a really good jump on that pitch. I'm not sure she would have been thrown out even if that pitch had been straight into the glove of Warwick behind the dish.
And Mattia fouls that one off there. So a full count now for Mattia with 1 down, a runner on second. Well, no say she didn't get a piece of that, so Mattia's out. So it's 2 outs with a runner on second for Kiki Thole, who packs a real punch from the right side of that batter's box, leads the team with 9 home runs for Michigan. And we saw her put 2 out last weekend against Northwestern on Saturday. Fouled straight back.
On the previous pitch, the catcher for Indiana, Warwick, threw down to second as Blair had taken a bit of a jump. And very interesting. You don't really see catchers throw down to second very often. Blair was able to dive back into the bag, but an interesting idea there for the Hoosiers.
There's a pitch from Copeland in for strike 2 on Kiki Thole. 1-2 count for the catcher from Michigan. And Blair almost got caught in a pickle there, able to make it back to second safely. She's taken some aggressive jumps.
She has, and what she's doing is she's taking some attention off from Copeland and Warwick.
And that foul ball careens off the netting and into the glove of Sarah Stone. Won't count as an out, but flips it back to Copeland for the strike 3 pitch there as Thole swings and misses, and Copeland retires the side. So Michigan unable to get anything going off of a infield hit from Lexi Blair. She reached on a bunt and then stole second, but Michigan leaves one stranded. So it's still 2-0 Indiana through 1 inning of play. Durkowski will head back to the circle to get warm for Michigan.
Not the best start for Michigan in the first inning. Was able to get Blair on and obviously couldn't get her home, but it'll be very interesting to see Durkowski try to bounce back toward against the sort of later half of this Indiana lineup, but it's still a very potent lineup. Even in this bottom, I mean, the 8-hitter Brooke Benson, excuse me, the 9-hitter Brooke Benson. No, sorry, the 8-hitter Kinsey Mitchell, excuse me, flipping the lineup here, hitting 360 in the 8-hole, and an Indiana lineup that really can get on base from 1 through 9 today.
And that's not a 360 from somebody that's seen limited plate appearances this season. That's 360 from a player with 114 at-bats on the year. Doesn't hit for a ton of power, but gets on base. And at the bottom of the order, that's something that most coaches in the Big Ten would take happily.
Absolutely. And then you get a runner on when flips over the top, and you've got Bassett, Kern, and Minnick coming up. And really just a deep lineup adds to the potency of this Indiana offense, which is already dominant at the top. And Durkowski's got her work cut out for her today, but hopefully she can take care of the 7, 8, 9 hitters here for the Hoosiers.
Durkowski will set. Cassidy Kettleman in the left-handed batter's box for Indiana. Pitch 1 is in for ball 1. Kettleman, a freshman, hitting .257 on the year for Indiana. Not a regular starter for the Hoosiers, but has seen action in nearly all of their games this season. As a check swing there leads to that pitch just kind of careening off the bat for strike 1. And a lighter crowd than usual, I'd say, here at Alumni Field, but not too surprising considering there's something else going on campus today as Kettleman flies out to center. Lexi Blair hauls it in with ease.
Hit that ball well to left center, but Blair ranging to her right. Very nice play out in center. Yeah, not much more you can expect from a crowd on graduation day. Well, it's not the warmest day either here at Alumni Field.
So 1 down now. That'll bring up Kinsey Mitchell, who you were just talking about, Alex, in that 8th spot, the center fielder, hitting .360 on the year. And that'll be a base hit on an infield ground ball that just bounced off of the glove of the third baseman, Audrey LeClaire. We'll see how that is scored, and that'll go as a hit.
Nice approach there from Mitchell. Just stepped up, slapped it opposite field, and hit it hard enough to make it a tough play at the hot corner for LeClaire.
So that'll bring up Brooke Benson, the 9-hole spot for Indiana. The junior hitting at .240 on the season. Thought about bunting and pulled it back there. Benson, the starting shortstop on this team, and the only junior in the batting order. The catcher, Lindsey Warwick, a junior as well. Durkowski sets, winds up, and delivers. That is going to be popped up. Livingston trying to come over, and it'll go over the netting into the Michigan dugout. One now to Benson. Indiana with 1 on. That's the center fielder, Kinsey Mitchell. And there's a bunt that's put down.
Whoa, that
looked like it hit.
Absolutely hit her. Umps took their time, but first base umpire got it. Chad Spittler.
And yeah, an excellent call from our first base umpire, Chad Spittler. He saw that immediately and waited before calling it out, let the play happen, but that'll be counted as a foul ball. That bunt bounced off the shoulder of Benson. And so we'll play it back here. 1-2 count, 1 down for Benson. The delivery from Durkowski is low and outside for ball 2. 2-2 count now. And that's big because Mitchell had reached third there on that infield hit and would have put a speedy runner in scoring position with only 1 out. Durkowski sets, winds up and fires. Off speed, got her. Swing and a miss for Lauren Durkowski. Her first strikeout of the contest. Excellent use of the off speed from number 18.
Nasty pitch from Durkowski to get a chase there. That ball just dropped and was swung right over by Benson.
And Benson way out ahead of that one. Masterful use of the off speed from Durkowski. And that'll bring back up Cora Bassett. Bassett reached on her first, or excuse me, flew out on her first attempt. To Ellie Sealer in left. Waits on that pitch, and it's going to be just outside for ball one. 1-1 count on the senior.
This is where Kinsey Mitchell hitting 365 now at the 8-hole comes to be very relevant because the top of this order now has a runner on and 2 outs, but has a chance to do some damage.
Swinging a misses, or excuse me, swinging a foul ball. Bassett fouls that one back. Kinsey Mitchell took off running there, but she'll trot back to first. 2 outs, 1-2 count on the senior Bassett. Durkowski looks, delivers, and that's going to be blooped, and it's going to drop in shallow left field. Sealer can't get there, and that'll drop for a single. And that brings up Taylor Kern now with 2 on. This is what Michigan was looking to avoid.
That was a good pitch by Durkowski. Just a really nice piece of hitting by Bassett, able to stick out her bat and poke it into left field. Not a hard hit ball, but a single nonetheless. And now, yeah, as you mentioned, two runners on for the Hoosiers, and the dangerous bat of Kern up. And it's a big at-bat here for Durkowski. Needs an out badly.
Again, Kern leads the Big Ten in home runs and RBIs as a freshman. A big-time impact bat in this Indiana lineup. First pitch in there for strike 1 with 2 outs.
Durkowski starts out ahead. Good to get a strike on the count early.
Kern singled in her first at-bat. Durkowski delivers, and that's going to be just low for ball 1. And Kern, like we've talked about, so dangerous at the dish. Hits for tremendous power and average. As that ball is smacked into left field, Sealer comes over, makes the grab, and Michigan gets out of the inning unscathed. Still 2-0 Hoosiers through 1.5.
Nice work by Durkowski to get a softly hit ball on the left there from Kern and keep it here at 2-0. But I mean, this isn't sometimes the Lauren Durkowski we have seen in the past, where really keeps runners off the bases. The Hoosiers have had 2 on in both innings, and hopefully Durkowski can get it going a little bit and have her dominant 1-2-3 innings that we know she's capable of.
And Durkowski does an excellent job of getting swings and misses and punch-outs. She's one of the best in the conference at it. Second, only behind Autumn Peace of Minnesota. But second in the conference in strikeouts with 190. No doubt that Lauren Durkowski is on when she's getting those punch-outs and keeping runners off the base paths and keeping balls out of play.
Durkowski's absolutely an elite starter in the Big Ten and has been particularly dominant this year. This is just a really tough Hoosier lineup that she's going to have to continue to work through as this game progresses.
And you're absolutely right, Alex. It is a tough lineup to work through. But she's done okay so far. 2-0 Indiana on top after some work in the first inning. But Durkowski and company work through the top of the Indiana order. It'll be Minnick, Stone, and Copeland up next for the Hoosiers. But for Michigan, it's going to be Melina Livingston, Indiana Langford, and Maddie Erickson.
Michigan going to need some runs to support Durkowski here against this Indiana team.
Livingston, of course, transferred in from Penn State last season. Didn't start a ton last year, but has really worked her way into an everyday starter role for Michigan. Listed as a utility player. We've seen her Started a couple different positions in the infield, mostly first and second, and even in right field at times. Copeland delivers, and that's going to slide past the catcher Warwick for ball 2. 2-1 count on Livingston. Hitting .231 at the plate this year, but has power. A couple of home runs on the season. As that's going to be hit hard to second base. Easy play for Kern there as she flips it to Stone for out number 1. And that'll bring up Indiana Langford, as maybe they've been doing this all season and I haven't noticed, but they played the Indiana Jones theme as she stepped up to the plate.
Fitting.
I can't imagine they've been doing that all season and I've never noticed. This is the most open we've had a window. At least I've had a window open all year from the booth. First pitch in for ball 1. Second is fouled off to Langford, the freshman.
Langford in that lefty batter's box, tries to slap the ball and get down that line quickly. Helps her get on base at a pretty high rate, hitting .271.
And Langford with elite speed. As Copeland's pitch just misses the black there. Lindsay Warwick tried to frame it, but Liz Hammerschmidt saw right through it. Next pitch in for ball 3. 3-1 hitters count for Indiana Langford. Talented freshman. Really found a home at second base for Michigan this season. And Langford takes her base there on the walk.
Really good eye that at bat from Langford. Took a couple close pitches and ends up on first base as a result. There's a reason her on-base percentage is around 80 points higher than her batting average. Really good eye there in the lefty box.
That'll bring up Maddie Erickson, another freshman. We've seen Erickson in this designated player spot somewhat frequently this year for Michigan. And Langford, again, someone who always viable to steal a base. 8 for 9 on the year. Or excuse me, 6 for 8 on the year. As we have a quick mound meeting here.
Chatting with the infield more than the pitcher and catcher at the moment.
And a couple of arms will trot down to the bullpen for Indiana. And no reason to think that Bree Copeland would be pulled now. She's been fantastic through her inning and a third of work. No runs allowed, 1 hit, and 1 walk.
I'm not sure what this is all about. I'm guessing they're trying to just keep some arms warm in case something goes wrong, and slightly colder weather today, but seems odd to consider pulling Copeland anytime soon.
And especially when you have a doubleheader today, and you just have to be a little more cognizant that you want to try to preserve your arms if you can.
Got to pitch through 14 innings today.
At least 14.
Yeah.
That next pitch is in for strike 1. 1-1 count, 1 out, 1 runner on first. And that's going to be knocked down. Going to be a tough play. They get Erickson at first pretty comfortably. Copeland knocked the ball down with her glove. Would have been a hot grounder to second. But it's a productive out as Langford reaches second.
Nice play by Kern there at second, able to change her direction after that ball was deflected by her pitcher Copeland and get the ball to first for the out.
That'll bring up Audrey LeClaire.
Way upstairs.
First pitch way upstairs, like you just said, Alex, for ball 1. 2 outs, runner on second. A lot of speed on second in Indiana Langford.
ball, the outfield likely scores a run.
And that pitch is in for a strike. 1-1 count now on Audrey LeClaire, the senior third baseman. .250 hitter on the season. And Langford gonna steal third there. They threw to second, and Langford was in the middle. She just took off and took third. And the speed of Indiana Langford, that's track speed. She has a track background in high school, was all-state in California.
Really good piece of base running, smart base running. They tried that, threw it on to second on Blair a couple times, and Langford able to take advantage and get to third.
And so Michigan now threatening the most they have all game with a runner on third. 2 outs now for LeClaire. And LeClaire swung and
fouled it off, I think.
Fouled it into her foot, so she'll take a step off for a second and reset. And so you have to imagine that mound infield meeting that they just had was to talk about Langford. As there's a swing and a miss, Copeland sits down LeClaire. Michigan unable to capitalize with the runner on third.
I'd imagine that was what that meeting was about, which it's kind of amusing now because it didn't really work out as Langford was able to sneak her way to third base. But nice pitching there by Copeland, able to get LeClaire and keep Michigan off the board here in the second.
So the Wolverines push Indiana Langford all the way to third, but can't get her around to score. Still 2-0 Hoosiers on top through 2 innings of play. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us on WCBN Sports. We'll be here for the whole afternoon. Doubleheader action today between Michigan and Indiana. And Alex, there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Absolutely. School year has come to a close. Great to be out here getting some good softball.
I think the only thing that would maybe be a little more appealing is if I was on like a beach somewhere with this like on the radio, but this is a close second.
Could take a little bit warmer weather too, but other than that, cannot complain.
Maybe if we were out on one of those camera decks in the outfield, like Charlie and I were in Clearwater.
Yeah, you don't like the press box?
Oh, I love the press box, but there was nothing like that when it was just super warm. We were out in the outfield. We looked like complete idiots because we didn't bring sunscreen, and so we had, I think Charlie had his hat on like backwards, but it was almost like vertical because he was trying to protect the back of his neck.
Smart man.
I had my collar popped. We looked really dumb, but it was a ton of fun out there.
Good call though. Got a good call in.
Durkowski delivers now to Taylor Minnick. First pitch in for strike 1 on the talented sophomore.
Some good travel for WCBN going to Clearwater for that tournament.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite trips of the year. Durkowski fires. Big swing and a miss. Durkowski went upstairs there, and Minnick chased. 0-2 pitchers count now for Lauren Durkowski on Taylor Minnick.
Minnick was looking to do some damage to that ball, and Durkowski just put it where she couldn't get it.
Winds died down a little bit here. Durkowski tries to go back upstairs. Minnick learned her lesson, lets it sail by for ball 1. Durkowski sets, winds, fires, and that'll be popped up in the infield. McVeigh calls off LeClaire and hauls it in for out number 1.
Pitching by Durkowski there, changing eye levels, getting a chase upstairs, going upstairs again to try to get another chase, and then going back down low and generating the pop-up.
So 1 out now. Durkowski gets to attack this heart of the Indiana lineup in pieces. Took care of Bassett and Kern last inning, and Stone flies one to right. Mattia back to the warning track and hauls it in. A well-struck ball from Sarah Stone, but just not quite enough juice to get over that blue wall in right field and into the grandstand.
I thought Mattia was going to be running to the buddies sign out there and right, but able to make the play in the warning track.
So 2 down now. We'll bring up Bree Copeland. Copeland strikes that one hard. That's got a chance, and it bounces off the wall. Copeland slides into second. A pretty close play, but throw just not in time. A nice effort from Lexi Blair in center field to try to gun down Copeland, and Copeland getting it done on both sides now. Held Michigan scoreless through 2, and now with 2 doubles.
I think that just shows what a fun game baseball can be and how unlucky you can be. Stone ripped a ball to right, got nothing out of it, and Copeland rips one and happens to get down. It also shows what happens if you keep hitting the ball hard. You're eventually going to get rewarded, and Copeland does there.
And this Indiana lineup hits the ball well. We can't say that enough. First pitch to Avery Parker, in for strike 1. So 2 outs. 0-1 count now to Parker. 1 runner on second. That's Bree Copeland. Dirk winds, fires, off speed, in there for strike 2. Nice job by Lauren Durkowski mixing it up, freezes Parker there.
2 outs, 0-2 count. Good chance for Durkowski to get out of this inning with no run damage here.
Dirk winds, fires, and again went back to the off speed. Parker way out and ahead of it, just tipped it foul.
Really good pitching by Durkowski, changing up velocity there and almost got a swing and miss. Just able to get the end of the bat on it was Parker to stay alive here and have a chance to knock Copeland home.
Durkowski releases, and that's another pop-up there to Mattia in right. She camps under it, and that'll retire the side. Despite a hard-hit double from Bree Copeland, Indiana unable to move the line any further. Nothing doing there. Still 2-0 after the Hoosiers pushed 2 across in the top of the first. Michigan due up next.
Durkowski settling in a little bit here. I mean, certainly a couple of hard-hit balls that inning, but able to keep the Hoosiers off the board, and that's what she's going to have to do throughout this game to keep Michigan in it. And eventually the Michigan bats hopefully will step up and give her some run support and get this game going.
And so for the Wolverines this inning, it's going to be McVeigh, Sealer, and Blair due up. And we've seen this Indiana lineup already get through 1.5 times. Michigan still hasn't even gotten through the full order yet.
Well, that's just what happens when Indiana gets people on base in the rate that they have throughout these first couple innings and continue to get more chances for the big bats in this order. And for Michigan, this is a good spot here. McVeigh, a good table setter at the 9-hole, and Michigan will have a chance to get her on and get the top of the order going. And Sealer and Blair get some speed on the base pass, maybe sneak a couple runs across here. Bree Copeland having a heck of a start to this day. A couple extra base hits, two shutout innings on the mound, in the circle, I should say. Really good start for the sophomore.
And Copeland, you're right, has been excellent for Indiana. Getting it done at the dish and in the circle. She's their ace. 3.2 ERA. As that'll bring up Ella McVeigh. McVeigh fouls the first ball off.
McVeigh showed bunt there, and corner infielders far in, but then pulled back and took a swing at that ball. Wasn't able to get it in play.
Copeland looks, McVeigh showing bunt, pulls it back and lets that slide by for ball 1. 1-1 count now to Ella McVeigh.
McVeigh, another hitter on this Michigan team that gets out of that lefty batter's box quickly, tries to slap it down the line for some base hits.
Fouled off towards the Indiana dugout. So we'll keep it going here. 1-2 count on Ella McVeigh.
Uh-oh.
as Indiana takes a couple of extra throws to get it into Bree Copeland's mitt.
Sarah Stone helping her out there.
But eventually it finds Copeland, and another foul there by Ella McVeigh.
I think McVeigh is a really valuable player on this Michigan team. Excellent defense at shortstop. Gets on base at a pretty good rate. Just a really valuable piece for the Wolverines as the sophomore.
Couldn't agree more. And that's a well-struck ball. Gets through the gap. And McVeigh is on with a single. Slid right through Kern and the shortstop, Brooke Benson. And that'll bring up the top of the order and Ellie Sealer. So Michigan with a runner on early and a runner with some speed in McVeigh.
McVeigh ripped that ball up the middle, put a really good swing on it, and gets Michigan started here. As I said before in the break, table setter, and now you've got one on for the top of this lineup.
Copeland stares down Sealer, delivers, and that's just outside for ball one to Ellie Sealer.
Warwick, the catcher, held that glove with the ball in it for a little bit, perhaps was waiting for a different call there from our home plate umpire, Liz Hammerschmidt. Didn't get it, though.
Upstairs on pitch number 2 for ball 2. And, Alex, we've seen Michigan be very aggressive on the base paths so far today. Are you expecting McVeigh to potentially go here? McVeigh, only 3 stolen base attempts on the season. She's been successful on 2 of those.
I think there is a chance they do send her as, well, now in the 3-0 count, they'll probably just see if Sealer can make her way on base here with a walk. But otherwise, absolutely would make sense with top of the order coming up, get a runner into scoring position, nobody out. Instead, just get the walk.
Sealer holds on the 3-0. Lets that pitch slide in for strike 1.
Looked into me from where I'm, our view, but absolutely not the best angle.
Copeland sets, fires, and it's up. Oh, a late call from Liz Hammerschmidt. Sealer took a step towards first, but an excellent frame job from Lindsay Warwick brings this count to full at 3-2.
As a former umpire, it's always an awkward moment when the player takes their first couple steps down the first base line before you bring them right back in with a strike call.
And that's going to be ripped to Kern at second. Kern doesn't opt for the double play, so a productive out moves McVeigh to second, but Sealer grounds out after being up 3-0 in the count there, and a really close call on the 3-1 pitch.
Yeah, as you mentioned, very unfortunate starting 3-0 and not being able to get on base. And fortunately, Kern didn't attempt to go for the double play ball thanks to the speed of McVeigh, but still a chance for the Wolverines. Runner on second, 1 out, but would have been very nice to have 2 on and nobody out.
That'll bring up Lexi Blair, who drives that one to center. McVeigh thinks about taking off and wisely holds at second. The center fielder, Kinsey Mitchell, had plenty of time to camp underneath that in, honestly, somewhat shallow center field, right at that dark M, and whip it right into Brooke Benson. McVeigh clearly wouldn't have made it to third there. Brings up Ellie Mataya, the 3-hole spot for Michigan. First pitch in. Copeland sets, delivers, swing and a miss on pitch number 1, and that'll be strike 1 to Mataya. She heads over to have a word with Bonnie Thole. Hoosier infield will huddle up. So, Alex, it kind of feels like the story of the game for Michigan so far has been runners left on base. There's been a couple of times where they've been able to get runners in scoring position. We saw last inning Indy Langford on third, unable to capitalize. Now Ella McVeigh on second, but with 2 outs now.
Yeah, and that seems to be a theme. You're right. They had Blair in the first as well, and they've been able to get some fast runners on to second and third and just not able to convert, especially in two-out situations.
That's a well-hit ball into left field, going to be hauled in for out number 3.
And it continues.
By Cassidy Kettleman. So Michigan gets a runner in scoring position yet again, but still unable to capitalize. Still 2-0 Hoosiers through 3 innings of play. But don't go anywhere. We got at least 4 innings left for you in game number 1 of an excellent doubleheader here from Carroll Hutchins Stadium. We'll never get old saying that.
I think the leaving runners in scoring position thing is a very interesting idea for the Wolverines because there's 2 ways to look at it. And one is that, they're struggling to hit with runners in scoring position. They need to get those runners home. But the other way to look at it is they're getting runners on base, and eventually they're going to start converting those opportunities, and it leaves reason for optimism. And I think that the Wolverines are a team that can absolutely turn this around. And still, only a 2-0 hole here. Durkowski's done a nice job shutting down the Hoosiers in innings 2 and 3. Wolverines completely in this ball game early.
Oh, absolutely. Still plenty of softball to go here from Alumni Field. Baseball game getting going at, I believe, 2 today. Across the way at Ray Fisher. Oklahoma State. The Cowboys are in town here in late April for a non-conference series. But why would you go anywhere when you have more Michigan softball on tap? Durkowski in the circle. Kettleman, who just made the last out of the inning, in the left-handed batter's box. Tries to lay down a bunt there, but lets it slide by for ball 1. Dirk sets, winds, fires. That's going to be chopped to McVeigh. Fields it cleanly. Strike across the diamond to Livingston for out number 1. Textbook there from Ella McVeigh at short.
Absolutely. Nice play from McVeigh. Took it, fielded it easily, and a bullet right into the glove at first of Livingston.
Kinsey Mitchell, the center fielder, now steps up for Shonda Stanton and her Indiana Hoosier squad. Another chopper to McVeigh. Picks it, delivers. 2 up, 2 down. Ella McVeigh seeing plenty of work here in the top of the 4th.
That was a really tough play by McVeigh. That ball hopped and ended up right next to her foot and was able to get her glove down and pick it on the bounce and get it to first. Just a tough play that McVeigh made look routine there at short.
And you were just saying how McVeigh is able to impact this team in a variety of ways, particularly on the defensive side, showing it off there, flashing the leather with a couple of nice grabs at short. Brooke Benson due up now for Indiana. First pitch in for a strike, 0-1 with 2 outs. Benson sets, lays down a bunt, but it goes foul for strike 2. So Durkowski with a 0-2 pitcher's count on Brooke Benson. With 2 down off 2 ground balls to Ella McVeigh. The delivery just upstairs for ball 1. Brooke Benson struck out in her first plate appearance. Durkowski got her first K of the outing with a swing and miss in the second. Dirk fires, and that is going to be hit hard into center field. Going back is Blair. Oh! What a grab at the wall by Lexi Blair. She hauled it in, robbed Brooke Benson of a home run for out number 3. Lexi Blair with a web gem there, flashing the leather in center field. How about it for the senior?
I thought that ball was absolutely out of here in center. What a play by Blair. Took one away. My goodness.
Lexi Blair, the senior, with one of the best defensive plays I've ever seen, robs a home run, and Michigan with a ton of momentum now from that fantastic play by the senior Lexi Blair. Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's just a spectacular play, Kelin. There's no other way to put it. Just an unreal snag out in center. Blair climbed the ladder there, got up for that one.
Showed off the athleticism, rose up, and just took it back. That ball was over the wall, and Blair leapt up, timed it perfectly, got her glove on the ball, and just squeezed the leather. And that's the kind of plays that you get from the talented senior, number 3 in pink today, Lexi Blair.
Absolutely, and that's also the kind of play that can sort of spark a team, maybe get this offense going. The Wolverines were sort of huddled on the first base sideline having a chat here, and maybe that fantastic defensive play will spark some offense here. Thole, a dangerous hitter, heart of the order for the Wolverines. Perhaps they can get one going here.
Wow, that was just phenomenal from Lexi Blair. And she was receiving MVP chants from this home crowd. That'll bring up Kiki Thole to start the inning for Michigan. Thole, Livingston, Langford due up for the Wolverines. And Bree Copeland will get back to work for the Hoosiers. First pitch swung on and will drop for a single into left. And Michigan with some momentum going now.
Crowd's getting into it. Good time for the Wolverines here to get it going on offense. Thole just continues what's been a really good junior season and rips that ball on the left.
So 1 on, none out, as Maddie Ramey will come into pinch run for Kiki Thole. This is something we've seen consistently this season. Ramey being one of the first out of the dugout to step in and pinch run when needed for Michigan. And she's been pretty good at it.
Absolutely, and a chance here to maybe sneak another run across again, get a base stealing threat on, and someone who can move if this ball's hit into the outfield.
That's going to be popped up into the infield, and Livingston pops out to the shortstop, Brooke Benson, for out number 1. So 1 out, 1 on for Indiana Langford. Swing and a miss there from Langford, 0-1 count. As again, the John Williams composed Indiana Jones theme rings throughout Carroll Hutchins Stadium. Langford lays down a beautiful bunt there. Throw is not in time. It got out of the hand of Stone, and Maddie Ramey takes third. Excellent base running from the freshman there. Textbook bunt from Indy Langford, and Michigan has something cooking here in the bottom of the 4th.
Beautiful bunt by Langford, just able to punch it down the third base line softly in between catcher third and catcher third and pitcher, and able to get on. And as you said, Ramey just really smart base running, saw that ball get away from the first baseman Stone and able to move up. And now runners on the corners for Erickson in a big spot here for Michigan to perhaps jump right into this ball game.
Copeland sets, delivers, swing and a miss from Erickson. And it's the freshman getting it done for Michigan. Ramey on the base paths with some excellent base running. The freshman Langford lays down a nice bunt. And then a freshman at the dish now, and Maddie Erickson looking to put the Wolverines on the board. Big hack fouled straight back, 0-2 now for Erickson with 1 out. Audrey LeClaire on deck. And Michigan really threatening here. Speed on the corners. Langford took off there, but a foul ball sends her back to first. And again, Alex, we've seen Bonnie Thole and company be quite aggressive on the base paths today. And again, Langford with the speed where that's an easy decision to make.
Absolutely, and it's also with Ramey on third, it makes a tough call for the catcher Warwick whether to throw down or not, and she will.
And they've got Langford in a pickle, but they just drive her back to first. Don't try to get too greedy with Ramey taking a couple steps off third there.
Tough call and for the catcher Warwick to throw down there. Ramey, if she takes off immediately, I mean, it's a tough play for the shortstop or second baseman to fire that ball right back to the catcher, but Michigan will maintain the status quo with runners on the corners, nothing doing.
And just more opportunities for someone to make a mistake as Copeland gets a big strikeout there on Erickson to put Michigan with 2 outs now. So that'll bring up LeClaire. Runners on the corners, 2 outs for the senior Audrey LeClaire.
You're absolutely right about the aggressive base running. It just gives another opportunity for Indiana to make a mistake and for Michigan to take advantage and pounce and get an extra run. But as Indiana huddles the mound, I'm sure the Hoosiers are going to be talking about sort of what they will be doing on the base pass if LeClaire can get this ball into play.
And obviously, with 2 outs, you're just sending it to first or second.
The easiest
whatever the easiest out is. But for Michigan, or for Indiana, excuse me, in the huddle here, you've definitely running through scenarios. If Langford takes off again, what's the situation? If
do you let her run considering there's already 2 outs and a force at first ends the inning, as opposed to risking
an overthrow,
and Ramey getting home?
Exactly, because it's not that it's a guaranteed out at second. There's always a chance for an overthrow or a ball to slip through second, and then you're giving up an easy score for Michigan.
Right. Or Langford simply just sneaks under a tag, beats the throw there, as her speed can do, and
delivery to LeClaire, a big swing there as they got Langford in another pickle, and they tag her out at the plate. Won't matter as Ramey took off. Michigan, the aggressiveness backfires there as Indiana escapes. Michigan had 2 on, but Langford intentionally kind of gets caught in the pickle there, but unable to make it back to first. And the difference there is obviously there's 2 outs now, so you're not as concerned about Maddie Ramey taking off from third. You just have to get the out on Langford.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that Michigan didn't send Ramey as soon as that ball went down to second, because then they can get a pickle on Langford, and Ramey isn't a threat to beat the timing play home. Because if it's not a force, if they had tagged Langford at first after Ramey had crossed home plate, the run still scores for the Wolverines. But Ramey waited to take off until Langford was already caught in that pickle, and without her moving, they could just focus on gunning Langford down at first. So I do like the aggressive base running for the Wolverines, but an interesting choice there not to send Ramey on the throwdown from the catcher Warwick.
And an awesome moment here at Carol Hutchins Stadium as Michigan softball is recognizing all of the breast cancer survivors here at the park today. A number of the players had warm-ups with friends and family with cancer or that had survived or are currently battling. And obviously, Kaylee Rodriguez was on a number of those warm-ups as she continues her fight. Just an awesome moment here at the park. We're back underway now in the top of the 5th. Durkowski's first pitch in for ball 1.
Top of the order for the Hoosiers. This, as we've talked about many a time, this top of the order can do some damage, and big couple at-bats here against Durkowski.
Big swing and a miss there, swinging a foul back from Cora Bassett. She took a big hack at it and didn't catch it cleanly, just sent it straight back. And Michigan and Lauren Durkowski going to have to deal with the top of this Indiana order. Bassett, Kern, Minnick. Off speed, gonna land just foul and along that first base line. So Bassett will trot back to home plate and run it back. 1-2 count. This has been a fun one today, Alex. Michigan hasn't been able to push one across yet, but it's been a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, and it's considering all the base runners both teams have had, 2-0, quite a low score with all things considered.
Hard hit ball. That one's going to stick fair, and that's trouble. Into the corner. Michigan going to send it in. They're going to waver around to third. Play is uncontested as the ball actually slipped past LeClaire at third, so Bassett is in at third with a triple. But luckily for Michigan, Lauren Durkowski was camped right behind LeClaire in case of an overthrow. And as the ball slipped past, it rolled right into the glove of Lauren Durkowski. Bassett nowhere to go. Held at third. So that saves a run. But will bring up Taryn Kern, arguably the best hitter in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and a nice piece of hitting there for Bassett. The righty back-to-back pitches drove a ball down the right field line. First one foul by inches, and the second one was ripped harder and ended up fair, and gets a runner on third for Kern, who, as you said, is arguably the most dangerous hitter in the Big Ten, and a big spot now for Durkowski to settle in and try to get a couple outs here. But the thing with Bassett on third is that Zach Fly could score a run. Even a ground ball to the left side of the infield could get one in. So it'll be interesting to see how the Michigan defense approaches this, especially if there's a ground ball to either side.
Yeah, Taryn Kern batting .420 on the season, 19 home runs, 57 RBIs. Definitely has an argument to be made there. Nia Carter from Iowa batting an astounding .480 on the year. Also has an argument to be made.
Infield way in, so it looks like the Wolverines will want to go home on a grounder.
First pitch in for ball one to Taryn Kern. Again, she's only a freshman. She's going to be here a couple more years and be wreaking havoc on the Big Ten while she's here. The delivery from Durkowski, off speed, misses away. Or excuse me, they're going to call that a strike. Never mind, they'll correct it back to a ball on the scoreboard. I thought I was right. I didn't see Hammerschmidt put up the signal for a strike. So 2-0 count on Kern. Hard hit ball through the infield, and that'll be a single scoring the run. So 3-0 Hoosiers.
That's sort of the two-faced notion of bringing the infield in, is gives you a chance to go home on a grounder that you can corral, but it also makes it so you have a little less range that you can cover on a hard hit ball, and Kern able to rip that ball for a base hit. I think they're pinch running her.
So the Hoosiers take advantage of the triple from Bassett to start the inning. Kern adds to that RBI tally that leads the Big Ten.
Tatum Hayes pinch running for the Hoosiers. She's been a pinch runner for them all year. Barely ever gets a chance to hit, but has 14 of 18 on stolen bases this year.
She can fly. Kiki Thole going to have to be very cognizant of that, as she is. She popped up immediately there. Knows her personnel. Taylor Minnick in the left-handed batter's box. Excuse me, the left-handed batter's box. Dirk fires in for strike one. 1-1 count to Minnick. Minnick popped out to the infield twice today. Lets that next pitch slide by for ball two. And again, Kiki Thole very aware here of the tremendous speed in Tatum Hayes on first. 0-0 in red for Indiana today. Dirk rocks back, winds up, delivers. That is well struck into center. Blair back towards the warning track, hauls it in, and that'll hold Tatum Hayes at first. So one down now. holding the runner on first. I think Blair was gearing up for another collision with the wall in center field.
Yeah. I still am in amazement about that first catch she made at the wall. Just unbelievable stuff.
First pitch in for ball one to Sarah Stone. Stone had an RBI double in the first inning in a hard hit fly out to right in the third. 1-0 count, one down. Dirk rocks back, fires. Kiki Thole able to block it and keep it in front of her. Luckily for Michigan, Tatum Hayes didn't take off there. Dirk takes a peek at that wristband, spins the ball around in her hand, rocks back, winds up, releases. Excellent off-speed pitch over the plate, freezes Stone for strike number one.
Good pitch sequencing by Durkowski, changing movement, changing speeds, and able to get a look at strike from Stone. Gets another.
A nice pitch there from Durkowski, going back to the off-speed well, and continues to find success.
Liz Hammerschmidt, the home plate ump, took a moment to call that, but Thole just held it there, and eventually she raised her fist for the strike call.
Dirk fires. That's going to be chopped. Just foul. Audrey LeClaire came crashing down on it, but just missed it. 2-2 count. One down for Sarah Stone. Michigan looking for a double play ball here. The delivery. Going to be chopped to Durkowski. McVeigh hauls it in at second, but they can't get over to first in time. A nice slide from Tatum Hayes makes it a tough play for Ella McVeigh to fire it over to Livingston.
Yeah, nice slide by Hayes, and Durkowski's throw was a little bit off the second base bag for McVeigh. Made it a tough play to turn two on Stone, but still get the lead runner, so now two down. I mean, Copeland's been ripping the ball today, but a chance for Durkowski to get even with her here.
And Tatum Hayes a lot more speed than Stone has at first right now.
Right, so you replace her with a slower runner.
Stone 4 for 4 on stolen base attempts this year, but not nearly as much of a threat as Tatum Hayes is. 1-1 after that pitch is just off the plate for ball one.
Heard some groans for the crowd on that call, but
Michigan faithful not too happy with that call from Liz Hammerschmidt. Dirk gonna rock back, fires away off the plate for ball two.
Good snag by Thole behind the plate, stood up, reached into the lefty batter's box and able to corral that one. Durkowski absolutely has to be careful with Copeland here. She has been ripping the ball today.
Dirk rocks back. Off speed, got the swing and miss for a strikeout. And Michigan unable to get the play at second. Stone took off. And that's another stolen base for Sarah Stone, her 5th of the season. Tough play for Ella McVeigh to make there. Struck her out. Swing and a miss on Brianna Copeland. And just like that, Michigan retires the side. Durkowski's second strikeout of the contest.
Nice work by Durkowski there, bouncing back after giving up the run and able to keep the Indiana bats quiet here and retire Copeland on a couple nice off-speed pitches. This game, Michigan still quite within striking distance, only down 3 here. Got to get some bats going. They've had chances, keep getting runners on, runners in scoring position, but haven't been able to plate them.
So Indiana able to push one more across there to make it 3-0 off of a leadoff triple by Cora Bassett. And so Michigan will have LeClaire, McVeigh, and Sealer due up. And again, LeClaire due up because she never got out. They threw out Indiana Langford at first, and so LeClaire will still head to the plate. First pitch in for ball one to Audrey LeClaire. LeClaire struck out in the second. That's been her only plate appearance so far today. Fouled off for strike one. And some NFL news for your local Lions fans. Running back DeAndre Swift sent to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh.
As that ball is knocked past the third baseman into left field for a single for Audrey LeClaire. That'll bring up Ella McVeigh.
Just to be clear, my ooh was in response to the nicely hit ball by LeClaire, not the DeAndre Swift trade. But good piece of hitting by LeClaire, able to go opposite field and rip that ball on the left on the ground.
And that'll bring up McVeigh. McVeigh singled in her lone plate appearance today.
Another chance here for the Wolverines. A base runner on. Perhaps McVeigh makes two. Turn the lineup over and give the top of the order another chance to plate some runs.
That's going to be struck to second. Kern flips it to the shortstop, Benson, for the force at second, but Ella McVeigh able to reach safely on the fielder's choice. That brings up Ellie Sealer in the leadoff spot for Michigan. Sealer 0 for 2 on the day with a pop out and a ground out. First pitch in for ball one. 1 out, 1 on. McVeigh with speed on first for Sealer. Copeland delivers, swing and a miss. Sealer took a big hack at that one. Copeland fires again, and Sealer fires it foul as a Hoosier fan makes a nice grab in the grandstands. Chops that to second, double play. Chance not in time as another fielder's choice eliminates the runner advancing to second. So now it's Sealer on first with 2 out and Blair at the dish.
Yeah, back-to-back fielder's choice ground outs to second base for the Wolverines. Unable to get this offense going after getting a lead runner on in LeClaire.
First pitch in for ball one from Copeland to Blair. Blair singled in her first at-bat and flew out to center in her second. Pitch number 2 is up. Just at the letters, called strike one. One count, 2 down for Lexi Blair. Sealer with speed at first. 5 of 6 on stolen base attempts this season. Lindsay Warwick behind the dish, popped up quick there. That's going to be chopped towards Kern. Kern fields it cleanly, flips it to first, and that's the end of the inning. Michigan can't advance the runner from first to second. And that'll bring us to the top of the 6th. It's been a fantastic outing from Bree Copeland today from the circle. Lauren Durkowski has been effective as well, but a masterful performance from Copeland.
Copeland having a really good performance on both sides of the ball, has ripped those 2 doubles we've talked about, but she's done a really nice job controlling the zone, throwing strikes, and forcing this Michigan offense to put the ball in play. And Michigan's a team that really struggles at times to get extra base hits, and they've had a couple singles, but I mean, in that inning alone, 3 putouts to second base on the ground by Kern, and Michigan is getting base runners on walks and some slap singles in the infield, but really not able to generate any extra base hits so far today.
And just a thank you to all of our listeners tuning in today from wherever you are. Feel free to drop where you're listening from in the comments. Let us know how far this Michigan softball family reaches. Always great to hear where everyone's listening from. It's a nice day here in Ann Arbor. Wind's blowing out into the outfield a little bit. And I know I speak for Alex when I say we're so pleased to be able to be bringing you live Michigan softball coverage throughout this whole season. It's a pleasure as always to put on the headset for WCBN Sports.
Absolutely. Calling baseball and softball in the spring both are just so pleasant, I feel like is the word for it. It's just nice to be out here. It's a beautiful game. Just fun to watch.
Avery Parker due up for Indiana. Parker hasn't had a ton of success today. 2 flyouts into the outfield. Dirk's first pitch is just off the dish for ball 1.
Durkowski is allowed 3 runs, but for the most part has been all right today. I'm certainly expecting Michigan to try to get her through this ball game and save pitchers for game 2 later today.
Pitch number 2 in for strike 1. Hammerschmidt holds up the fist there. 1-1 count, top of the 6th inning here. And a pitch that's just off the plate for ball 2. Hammerschmidt paused for a second. Looked like she might throw up the fist, but that's in for a ball. 2-1 count now to Parker. And Parker gets a hold of that one. Blair makes another tough grab in center field. Not quite at the wall, but her momentum carries her onto the warning track. As Lexi Blair continues to flash the leather in center field.
Blair putting on a clinic out there in center. Took a homer away, and took what certainly would have been extra bases there away in the left center field alley. Playing a beautiful center field today for the Wolverines.
Excellent stuff from the senior Lexi Blair. We've talked about how today's commencement for all the seniors graduating across campus, and obviously the seniors on this softball team are here playing today. But Blair receiving the spotlight nonetheless.
Putting in quite the performance on graduation day.
1-0 to Cassidy Kettleman. That's in there for strike 1. So 1-1 count now to the left fielder. Kettleman 0 for 2 on the day. Fly out and a ground out. Dirk rocks back, winds up, delivers. Off speed, just off the dish for ball 2. Again, the home crowd letting Liv's Hammerschmidt hear it after that one.
Kiki Thole was holding her glove there for a long time after receiving that pitch. Looks like she really wanted the strike call behind the dish, but didn't get it.
And another one just off the plate. Again, Kiki Thole held it there for an extra second or two. Hammerschmidt not buying it.
There's a bit of a cat and mouse game, I think, between catcher and umpire with
absolutely.
framing, and I think it's one of the points against ever turning to robo-umps, just sort of that game and sort of the disparity between umpires game by game.
So one down, one runner on first now. As Kinsey Mitchell heads to the plate after Kettleman drew the walk. And so the infield huddles up for Michigan to talk it over real quick. Again, one out, one on after the walk to Kettleman. That'll bring up Kinsey Mitchell. Dirk winds up, fires, and that's in there for strike one.
Kettleman setting up at first base in like a sprinter stance with her hands in the dirt. Sort of interesting.
Dirk delivers up high for ball one. 1-1 count, one down. Dirk takes a peek at the wristband, flips the ball around in her hand, rocks back, winds, fires. In there for strike two. Good use of the off speed, froze Mitchell there. Despite the 3 runs given up today, Lauren Turkowski's ERA is still sitting at 1.70 on the season, as that's fouled off to stay alive in the count by Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, Turkowski has already pitched 163.2 innings coming into this game, and with so many innings, that ERA is sort of set it where it's at, and she's just had such a great year, been dominant all year for the Wolverines. Every time she pitches, just gives them a chance to win ball games.
That pitch is low for ball two. 2-2 count now to Mitchell. Mitchell singled in the second, grounded out in the fourth to McVeigh. Dirk sets, rocks back, winds up, fires, and it's just low. That'll bring it to a full count at 3-2. Dirk gonna kick some of the dirt off her cleats. Approaches the rubber. Peeks at that wristband. Sets her grip. Rocks back, winds up, and fires. And it's low. That'll put another runner on. Base on balls. 2 on, 1 out for Brooke Benson. Benson was robbed of a home run in the fourth by Lexi Blair. As Michigan will huddle up here in the circle. Again, 2 on, 1 out with Benson up. And after Benson, it's Cora Bassett, Taryn Kern, and Taylor Minnick. So Michigan really would like to avoid a situation where Cora Bassett or Taryn Kern are coming up with runners on.
Big spot here for Turkowski. What you absolutely don't want is to walk Benson and load the bases for Kern. The one plus right now for Turkowski in either situation is that there's 1 out, so a double play gets you out of the inning. But Mitchell and Benson both run fairly. Mitchell and Kettleman both run fairly well for the Hoosiers, so it'll be a tough turn for the Wolverines.
First pitch outside for ball 1 to Brooke Benson. Again, Benson struck out in the second and then had a surefire home run in the 4th inning to straightaway center. before Lexi Blair leaped up and hauled it in, as that's fouled straight back for a strike. 1-1 count now to Benson. Alex, I mean, I can't get over how tremendous of a play that was. Blair timed it perfectly, leapt up. Ball was clearly over the wall. She reached over the wall to haul it in. Excellent stuff from the center fielder wearing number 3 in pink. That's a bunt that'll go foul for strike 2. So 1-2 count to Benson, 1 down. Runners on first and second for Indiana.
Drakowski ahead in the count here, 1-2. Big chance to get Benson and make this 1 out away from getting out of this inning.
Dirk rocks back, fires, and it'll be fouled off toward the Michigan dugout. Livingston sprinted over towards it, but never really had a play on it. Not enough air under that one. Infield playing at the corners. Outfield pretty even as another foul ball off the bat of Brooke Benson.
Good at bat here from Benson, protecting the plate, fouling off a couple pitches, staying alive, and hoping to get something she can turn on here from Drakowski.
Benson gonna hang in there. Dirk sets, rocks back, fires low for ball 2. And Michigan got to be cognizant here of who's on base. Cassidy Kettleman has the speed to rip a bag away from you if you let her. 4 stolen bases and 5 attempts on the season for the freshman.
Mitchell has 9 stolen bags on first. Both of them can really run well for the Hoosiers.
And that's going to be just off the plate for ball 3.
Big pitch coming, full count.
Lauren Drakowski, after just walking the last 2 hitters, in a full count here. Dirk for the payoff pitch. Sets, rocks back, fires, and that's going to be struck into center field. Nice play by Lexi Blair to get under it.
It actually won't be. Will it be Kern? I think it'll be.
It's Cora Bassett up now.
Oh, excuse me. Right. I'm one ahead in the batting order.
So it'll be Bassett up, who's still ever dangerous with 2 outs and 2 on. I mean, if it's any indication, her last at bat, she ripped a triple into the right field corner. Way out ahead of that one. Good off speed from Drakowski for strike 1.
Good pitch by Drakowski. Did a nice job retiring Benson once again, and now just an out away from getting out of this inning without a scratch. Bassett, of course, dangerous, but gets ahead there with a nice breaking ball and has a chance to stay ahead.
And a check swing there, fouls off. Just kind of tipped off the edge of the bat there from Bassett. Not pleased about it. We'll put her in an 0-2 hole. And if Michigan can get an out here, that's an ideal situation because not only do you get out of the inning unscathed, then you bring up Taryn Kern up to lead off the next inning. That ball is going to be ripped into the outfield. Going to be a tough play at the plate. Sealer with an excellent throw. Was the tag in time? It was. Ellie Sealer guns down the runner at the plate with a strike from left field, and Michigan escapes unscathed. Fantastic work from the left fielder, Ellie Sealer. Excellent work at the plate by Kiki Thole to apply the tag, and Hammerschmidt pumps out Cassidy Kettleman at the dish.
You said it, Kelin. Just a heck of a play by Sealer out in left. Came up charging that ball, fired home in a beautiful one-hop, and nice play by Thole to handle it and get the tag down.
How about these outfielders today for
They're
Michigan,
having
Alex?
quite a day defensively.
A couple of fantastic defensive plays from this outfield. I remember last year down in Florida at USF for the Rawlings Invitational, Ellie Sealer made a number of fantastic plays in left. That defensive acumen continuing to be shown here in that sophomore season as she's been a stalwart defender in left field for this Wolverine squad. Michigan's robbed a home run, thrown someone out at the plate. All to stay in this game.
Defense is helping Durkowski out. Now they just need to come and step up to the plate, get it going.
And so that'll bring Bree Copeland back to the circle. Ellie Mattia at the dish for Michigan. It'll be Mattia, Thole, and Livingston. Due up for Michigan. Escaped the top of the sixth unscathed there, but Michigan potentially only 2 more chances to get runs on the board. Got to start now, as that one rolls just foul. 1-1 now on Ellie Mattia. Mattia will step back in and drive that one into center field. A diving grab. What a play. The left fielder Kettleman hauls it in. It's on both sides, Alex. Both of these outfielders making fantastic plays. A diving grab from Cassidy Kettleman in left. And the Hoosiers flashing the leather on the other side.
Just a defensive clinic right now both ways, and the left side of the outfield in particular just making some spectacular plays. Kettleman, that was a bit of a – that ball ended up sort of the top for a glove, almost popped out, but able to keep control of it as she hit the ground. Just another – just fun to watch. Some excellent defense here at Alumni Field.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Kiki Thole now at the dish for Michigan as
Another
she
run.
launches one into the outfield, down to the warning track, up against the wall. Goes Kinsey Mitchell as Kiki Thole almost put one out there for out number 2.
Good piece of hitting for Thole. Ripped that ball, hit it well, but just a fun game we're getting.
Yeah, and if that wind had stuck around, that ball's probably getting out. I mean, Kinsey Mitchell was on the warning track, and one more step was at the wall. So that'll bring up Livingston with 2 outs. A couple of well-hit balls. Just better defensive plays from the Indiana outfield results in 2 quick outs.
Considering it's 3-0, we've had a lot of action in this game, both ways.
Livingston hangs in upstairs for ball 1. 1-1 count now on Livingston. And that ball is going to be struck into center field, hauled in by Kinsey Mitchell for out number 3. Michigan goes 3 up, 3 down despite a couple of well-hit balls in the inning.
All 3 Michigan hitters struck a ball to the outfield, but nothing doing. Largely in part because a couple nice defensive plays by Indiana, but promising swings from the Wolverines, and hopefully those well-hit balls will turn into hits and future at-bats. But now the Michigan defense is going to go back to work and try to keep this deficit at 3. Durkowski back to the mound, and we're in the 7th now. So,
and this game has flown by.
Yeah. Could be under 2 hours at this rate.
But remember, don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because soon after the conclusion of this game, we'll be bringing coverage for game number 2 of the Saturday doubleheader. Again, it'll be Alex and I on the call, keeping some familiar voices in your ear. And so Lauren Durkowski will continue. Top 7 here from Carol Hutchins Stadium And so Taryn Kern, the ever-dangerous second baseman, now up for Indiana.
It's kind of funny. She's 2 for 3, and it feels like she's been quiet today.
2 for 3 with 2 singles that have just been good pieces of hitting, getting shallow fly balls that land in the outfield, dropping for base hits. An RBI, though, in there as well for Kern.
That's what great hitters do, just find ways to get on base.
Durkowski delivers up high for ball 2. So 2-0 to Kern. After Kern, it'll be Taylor Minnick and Sarah Stone. Bree Copeland after that if needed. Dirk rocks back and fires away. Upstairs again for ball 3. And Lauren Durkowski, after walking a couple of batters in the top of the 6th, down in a 3-0 hole here to Taryn Kern now.
It's not the worst thing in the world if you walk Kern, considering how dangerous the hitter is, but she absolutely has protection behind her in Minnick and Stone.
And 4 straight pitches results in a walk for Taryn Kern, so she reaches base for the 3rd time today in 4 at-bats.
You wonder why that on-base percentage is sitting at 600.
She's one of the best hitters in the Big Ten. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you talked about it. Slugging 983,
It's nuts what she's doing this year.
10 more drawn walks than strikeouts, make it 11 now, as that's going to get down in front of Sealer for a base hit for Taylor Minnick. And so the Hoosiers not going quietly. They're getting something cooking in the top of the 7th. 2 on, none out, as Minnick will be pinch run for. That'll be Aaliyah Andrews, the junior outfielder, coming in to pinch run.
And the Hoosiers are threatening again here in the 7th, and hopefully Durkowski can settle in, get a couple outs, and keep this game at 3 for the Wolverines. Oh, well, not going to be Durkowski, I don't think.
And so Emerson Aiken will get a chance to finish this one off for Michigan. Both runners on, of course, will be credited to Durkowski. But it's Emerson Aiken stepping into the circle for Michigan. Down 3-0, Lauren Durkowski gave Michigan 6 solid innings of work today. And in a doubleheader like today, that's hugely important.
Sort of a big spot here for Aiken to get a chance.
And Aiken, another sophomore on this staff in the pitching rotation for Michigan.
I believe she's got a 5.11 ERA over 12.1 this year. So not a ton of experience in the circle this season.
And that's right. Michigan, really, the lion's share of their innings have gone to Jessica LeBeau and Lauren Durkowski. Dirk 17-8 on the year.
I'd assume we see LeBeau later, but
LeBeau going to go tomorrow. Dirk, or excuse me, later today.
Yeah, okay.
Dirk over nearly 170 innings of work this season. LeBeau with 95 innings of work, and then Hannah George with 5 and Emerson Aiken with 12 1/3 over 10 appearances.
But Aiken in a sort of high leverage situation. I mean, the Wolverines trail by 3, but you want to keep it that way so they have a chance to tie or win this game in the bottom of the 7th.
And Dirk was honestly pretty efficient today. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw her in a potential closeout situation in the game 2 today.
Right.
Aiken's first pitch to Sarah Stone was in for a strike.
She could pitch tomorrow as well.
Exactly.
If that game gets in. But never know with the inclement weather in this state.
Michigan baseball getting ready to do battle with Oklahoma State in about 15 minutes at Ray Fisher. WCBN Sports will have coverage on WCBN Sports 2 of that game. Daniel Olson, Jack Schmader on the call. Great crew there. 2-1 count to Sarah Stone. Emerson Aiken in the circle for Michigan. Lauren Durkowski gave him 6 great innings of work, gave up 3 runs, and has 2 more that will be credited to her if they cross. 3-1 to Stone now. Stone 1 for 3 on the day with a RBI double in the first. And that ball is smacked into left. Sealer at the warning track will come in and hold Taryn Kern at second. That's a big out there for Michigan.
Absolutely, and the dangerous Bree Copeland stepping in now, but Aiken does a nice job, able to retire Stone on the deep fly out, and another out away here. Chance to get Copeland.
And again, holding that runner there big as well. Sealer threw out Kettleman at the dish earlier. First pitch to Copeland is in for ball 1. Shonda Stanton opts not to test the arm of Sealer again, holds Kern at second.
I don't think Kern would have had a chance. That ball was hit deep, but Sealer's got a good arm out and left. But 1 down, so a double play would get out of this inning here for Aiken.
Big swing and a miss there from Copeland. Way out ahead of that one. 1-1 count now to Bree Copeland, who has not only been tremendous at the plate with 2 doubles today and an RBI, as that's high for ball 2, but has also pitched 6 scoreless innings. And the expectation is that she'll be in the circle for the 7th as well.
I mean, it's been quite a day for Copeland, doing it both ways about as well as you can, and she's a big part of why Indiana's in front here. Clearly their MVP of this game so far.
Giving herself some support.
Yeah.
3-1 now to Bree Copeland. Aiken down 3-1 to Sarah Stone the last at-bat, and got the fly out to Sealer in left. Takes a peek at the wristband. Fires away, and it's fouled off by Bree Copeland. So a full count pending now between Aiken and Copeland, with 1 down, 2 runners on for Indiana. Michigan desperately needs to escape unscathed here if they want a chance in the 7th. The payoff pitch. Low, walked her. And that'll load the bases now with 1 out for Avery Parker. And so Michigan will huddle up real quick in the circle, have some words, discuss how to attack Parker, who's been 0 for 3 on the day, 3 flyouts. She's struck the ball well, just hasn't found any gaps. 2 flyouts to center and 1 to right.
Parker, another freshman, but another dangerous freshman. 9 homers herself, too.
That's going to be chopped to McVeigh at second. Fires to first for out number 2. But Taryn Kern will score, extending the Indiana lead to 4-0.
McVeigh had a tough play there, had to jump on the high hop for that grounder, and would have been a tough play to get Kern at home, so takes the easy out at first, and which is fine now. 2 in scoring position still, so another big at-bat here for Emerson Aiken on the mound, but in the circle, I should say, excuse me, but chance to get out of this inning with only 1 allowed here.
And that run will be credited to Durkowski. Again, Kern reached base with Durkowski pitching, so that will be credited to her. Two outs, 1-0 count to Cassidy Kettleman. That's going to be popped into left field. Sealer camps under it for out number 3. So Indiana loads the bases, able to push one across, but can't get anything else going. But they extend their lead to 4. Michigan backs against the wall. Bottom of the 7th coming up here. The bats need to get hot. And for Michigan, it'll be Langford, Erickson, and LeClaire due up 6, 7, 8. Bottom of the order is going to have to come through for Michigan. They're going to be having to do so against Bree Copeland, who's been tremendous for Indiana today. Only giving up 5 hits, no runs. 1 walk to 4 strikeouts. And we've talked about how great Lauren Durkowski's been all year. How about Bree Copeland? 16-2 on the season through 124 1/3 innings of work. 115 strikeouts to 40 walks. That's pretty good herself.
Really good, reliable starter for this Hoosier squad, and having a dominant outing today. I mean, 5 hits, no earned runs against what is a generally pretty solid Michigan offense. Just a really good all-around performance from Copeland, and she'll look to close it out herself here in the bottom of the 7th. Wolverines will have, as you said, Langford, Erickson, and LeClaire, and perhaps they can, Langford not much of a power hitter, but hopefully she can get on and give the Wolverines a leadoff base runner here.
And so yet again, the Indiana Jones theme blasts throughout Carol Hutchins Stadium as Indiana Langford steps up to the plate.
Been on base twice today. Maybe she can do so a 3rd time. Be good start for this Wolverine 7th if they can get a runner on here. Go a long way. 4 runs, though, in a half inning is tough, but you never know. They put up 12 in an inning last weekend.
Against the number 1 team in the Big Ten. But they weren't doing that against Bree Copeland, as Copeland delivers for strike 1 there. 1-1 count on Indy Langford.
Anything can happen.
And in that game last weekend against Northwestern, when the Wolverine offense was clicking on all cylinders, Indy Langford had her first career home run. Blasted one into right center.
Maybe number 2 right now. You never know.
1-2 count to Langford. Copeland delivers. It's low for ball 2. Langford 1 for 1 on the day. Drew a walk in the 2nd and then singled in the 4th. So she's reached on both her plate appearances. Pitch number 5 is high for ball 3. So a full count now to Indy Langford. She's worked the count back to full. Copeland, the payoff pitch. It's going to be chopped to the shortstop, Benson. She can't field it cleanly, and Indy Langford will reach on error.
Good start for the Wolverines. Langford hit it for a tough backhand for the shortstop, Benson, and able to get a board here. And
it doesn't really matter how you do it as long as you do it.
Yeah.
And that's, again, the threat of Langford's speed on the base paths is ever present. Maddie Erickson at the dish now for Michigan.
Question is, do you value the risk of getting thrown out stealing over an out at this point in the game? And I think they might be a little more conservative at this point, down 4, but because 1 run really doesn't make much of a difference. But we will see how they use, or as Langford as a runner on first.
2 pitches, splits them. 1 ball, 1 strike to Maddie Erickson. Erickson hasn't swung the bat yet. Looked at them both. Swings big time there as it's tipped back. 1-2 count. Langford took off there, but Liz Hammerschmidt said no, that pitch was tipped foul. So she'll be sent back to first. Copeland delivers. That is going to drop just foul. Erickson just kind of blooped it into shallow left there, but pulled it a little bit too much.
Yeah, really well hit ball, but just a little out in front of it. Now another chance here.
And that's going to be just off the plate. that Hoosier dugout not a fan of that call from Hammerschmidt. 2-2 count now to Erickson.
Tough take, though, for the freshman on a close pitch in a big spot. Good eye.
And that's another one. Not going to get the call there. It was late from Hammerschmidt, but she punches out Erickson. Erickson caught looking for out number 1 in the bottom of the 7th. Langford still on first. 1 down now for Michigan. As this place has really filled up as time's gone on.
Yeah.
Audrey LeClaire now up for Michigan.
Perhaps you got some stragglers post-graduation?
Perhaps. Beautiful Saturday in Ann Arbor. And as always, thank you for joining us here on WCBN Sports. As LeClaire pops that one up, gonna make its way out of play. So 0-2 now on LeClaire. Langford still on first. And like you said, Alex, I don't know if it's worth risking the out at this point. Being down 4.
Especially with 1 down now as well. I think you just got to hope that LeClaire and McVeigh can deliver here at the bottom of this order and turn the lineup over to the top with runners on.
Copeland sets, fires. It's going to be fouled off again by LeClaire. 1-2 count will stay the same. And Langford taking some big jumps here. Copeland sets, fires. Just off the plate. Michigan has been very, very passive, it feels like, here. In the bottom of the 7th, we saw Erickson strike out looking. LeClaire with a good eye there. Lets that one skate by for ball 2 as she pulls that one into right field. Langford rounding second. She's going to round third and be sent home. LeClaire heads back to second. That's an RBI double for Audrey LeClaire, and Michigan's on the board.
Must have heard you calling the offense passive. LeClaire turns on a ball and rips it to right center, and Michigan has life here, plating their first run in the bottom of the 7th.
LeClaire with a clutch RBI double in the bottom of the 7th puts Michigan on the board. And that, again, the double keeps the runner in scoring position. The speed of Indy Langford able to score all the way from first. And that'll bring up Ella McVeigh. McVeigh singled in the 3rd and in the 5th. Grounded into a fielder's choice. LeClaire takes a big jump there. And Indiana very aware of the speed of LeClaire. 8 stolen bases on the season. (1-1) now to Ella McVeigh.
McVeigh's been showing bunt on these first 2 pitches and pulling back and taking, but it's interesting with 1 down here already. Is she going to try to bunt for a base hit? Well,
pitch is low and away for ball 2 to Ella McVeigh, the sophomore shortstop. We've seen her make a couple of nice plays on the defensive side today.
Great defense all around here on both teams. Made a couple of really nice plays, outfield and infield.
And that's in there for strike 2. Copeland painting the black there.
LeClaire just delivered with 2 strikes. How about McVeigh now? Big spot here for the shortstop.
Again, 1 down, 1 on. Michigan's made it a 4-1 ball game by pushing 1 across on the 7th. That's fouled straight back. The bottom of the order has to get it done for Michigan if they want to stay alive here and look to move up in the Big Ten standings as we approach the Big Ten tournament in Champaign. McVeigh showing bunt. She swings and misses for out number 2. That's a big strikeout for Bree Copeland. Ellie Sealer now at the dish, the last hope for Michigan. And Sealer 0 for 3 on the day. Lets that first pitch slide by for ball 1. And next pitch is in for a strike. 1-1 count to Sealer. LeClaire standing on second. Dangerous with her speed. Another one slides in for strike 2.
See, they're going to have to protect now. 2 strikes. 1 strike remaining in this ball game. Going to have to, you don't want to go down looking to end a ball game.
Delivery from Copeland upstairs for ball 2.
Good check swing there from Sealer. Held it back, stays alive.
Copeland winds, delivers, it's low for ball 3. Sealer works it to a full count now. Michigan down 3 with 1 on, 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. The delivery from Copeland is going to be swung on and hit to Kern. Going to be a tough play at first, and Taryn Kern makes a tremendous play at second, lays out. And that will end the first game of today's doubleheader. Taryn Kern lays out, hauls it in, and flips it to Sarah Stone at first for the final out. Looked like a great rip from Ellie Sealer, but a better defensive play from the second baseman, the freshman, Taryn Kern. She's getting it done on both sides for Indiana.
A very fitting end of this ball game, I think. A really excellent defensive performance on both sides of the ball. We saw some spectacular plays from Sealer and, in particular, Blair in center for the Wolverines. And Indiana had a couple nice defensive plays. And I think it's very fitting that this game was capped off by an excellent play by Kern at second. And the Wolverines will look to bounce back in Game 2 today.
Well, with that, thank you for tuning into WCBN Sports live coverage of Michigan softball. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes for game number 2 of our doubleheader from Alumni Field at Carol Hutchins Stadium. With that, we're going to leave you as we always do with a good night, or excuse me, a good afternoon, and go blue. We'll see you in just a few minutes for game number 2 from Alumni Field between Michigan and Indiana.